Many people say that dogs are man's best friend, but it turns out a dog can be a small owl's best friend as well. Most dogs I meet are really friendly. They're just naturally sociable and outgoing by nature. I think it would be harder for them to stay introverted. It's worth mentioning that dogs may seem to form a close bond with other animals, but this is rare. They typically have more in common with their own species or people than other animals. One that's from a species naturally shy of humans. Fortunately, there's now a sweet interspecies duo breaking the mold and proving the stereotypes wrong. Ingo, a Belgian Shepherd, and Poldy, our 1-year-old owlet, are living proof that some friends are just meant to be together. Ingo, a Belgian Shepherd from a long line of police dogs, lives in Germany with his owner photographer, Tanya Brunt. Tanya took a photography workshop year back and then naturally combined it with her lifelong love of animals, especially dogs and birds of prey. Over time, she started creating images of her dogs and birds in action. In addition to Ingo, she had several other shepherd dogs. Tanya also shares a home with rehabilitated raptors including hawks, falcons, and many owls. One of the most photogenic and famous owls is a sweet little owlet named Napoleon, or Poldy for short. Poldy was the bird's equivalent of the runt of the litter. It quickly became clear that he was not a creature who would thrive in the wild and would be safest in a protected environment. Poldy is a bit more vulnerable than his brothers and sisters. He hatched 2 days later than his siblings and is quite tiny compared to other owls. In short, he needed more attention and care than others. That is in sharp contrast with Ingo, who has experience protecting others. The Belgian Shepherd comes from a family of police dogs and has definitely had his tough moments in life. Ingo might be the more protective of the two, but it's absolutely clear in the photographs that owlet Poldy likes to take care of his loving four-legged friend as well. You can see the Poldy always snuggles up to Ingo and keeps him very close. Tanya captured some nice playful and absolutely heartwarming moments of the two together, and it's an incredibly sweet sight to behold. Ingo somehow sensed that Poldy was vulnerable, and in doing so decided to assign himself the role of protector and best friend. Although other dogs might have seen little Poldy as an opportunistic snack, Ingo took to Poldy straight away, almost as if Poldy were his own puppy. That initial adoption evolved over time into a beautiful friendship. Now, Poldy is older and stronger with owlets of his own. He doesn't need protection in the same way that he once did. So, its connection with Ingo has turned into much more of a mutual bromance. The dynamic duo spends as much time as possible together. Sometimes Ingo will go for a walk with Poldy, pitching a ride on his back. Other times the duo will simply snuggle up together with the petite Poldy, finding a warm spot to nestle like under Ingo's chin or behind his paw. Occasionally, if Ingo is out fetching something, Poldy will take the opportunity to land and grab a new different vantage point. Poldy does have a special lady now, and Ingo is a dog with a busy interspecies social calendar. So these best buds sometimes find that they have other responsibilities. Still, whenever they can, they come back to one another and enjoy just hanging. Two unexpected friends who totally adore each other. Ingo always wants to keep Poldy close by and always offers his love and protection. Poldy doesn't know how to live free. According to Tanya, Tanya regularly posts updates about Ingo, Poldy, and their families on her website and Instagram accounts. All of the pictures are truly stunning and unique. Tanya took a photography workshop for beginners years ago and always was a huge animal lover. She's especially keen to canines and birds of prey. In other words, Ingo and Poldy aren't only perfect for each other, but for Tanya as well, Fume and Jibra. If you think The Tale of the Owl and the Pussycat is just a sing-song fairy tale poem that parents read to their kids, think again. With their swiveling heads, razor-sharp talons, fantastic eyesight, and precise hearing. Owls are some of the most skilled predators in the animal kingdom. For most critters, getting eyeballed by a hungry owl means there's a good chance they end in an owl palate. As a nature lover and bird aficionado, Jordy regularly brought his pet owl into the woods for hunting and flight practice. One day, however, another animal interrupted their session and made him very, very nervous. Falconer Jordy from Spain loved nothing more than to work with barn owls. He trained them to entertain the public with dazzling flights and to return to him after a hunt. 1 hour in particular, though, he witnessed something he couldn't believe. That particular bird was Jibra, a beautiful barn owl who'd been reared by human hands since he was a tiny owlet. Despite her lifelong interactions with humans, Jibra wasn't usually social if she didn't need to be. When Jordy brought Jibra into a nearby wooded area, she'd stretch her wings and practice smooth takeoffs and landings, the type of stuff that really pleased the crowd. One day in 2010, however, her afternoon routines changed forever. Someone else started following Jordy and Jibra on their hikes. Jordy's black cat Fume, whose name meant smoke in Catalan. This made the falconer uneasy. There were just too many talons and claws in close proximity to each other, and his worries were seemingly justified. On one hike shortly after Fume appeared, Jordy witnessed the scene that he figured would end in a eulogy. The black cat stood on a small patch of dirt while Jibra barreled down on him with all the speed of a hungry predator. Surely Fume was doomed. But instead of getting plucked from the ground and turned into the owl's lunch, Fume playfully jumped up and tried catching Jibra mid-flight. This was no life or death situation. This was a game and one that Jordy should have seen to come. Why? Well, Fume and Jibra have known each other for a while. They first met in 2010 when they were each just babies. As such, Jibra cared for her feline friend and would never have hurt him. In the beginning, Jordy wasn't amused in the slightest by the game. He knew that it could end up for the worst. After a few days, I realized that the game was quite harmless and innocent. Harmless and innocent? Sure, but that didn't stop the cat and owl from impressing audiences all over the world with ridiculous displays of friendship. Have you ever seen a cat high-five an owl, for instance? At times it actually appeared as though Fume was more like an owl than a cat. Frequently, Fume would join Jibra in a tree so their playtime didn't have to end. Obviously, their friendship knew no bounds, despite their reputation for sometimes being exclusive and prima donna each creatures. Cats can actually be one of the nicest and friendliest animals out there. Like some animals, cats can get along with most everyone, from other cats to dogs, to elephants, to owls. That's correct. You read that right. While they seemingly don't tend to have anything in common with one another, cats and owls can break that barrier and just be pals. You might assume that when you put an owl and a cat in the same room together, it can result in nothing but flying feathers and yawls of despair, which is why we were so pleased to see that for this particular owl and cat at least, friendship can trump nature if you're both really, really chill. You just know they're both comparing hunting strategies when the camera isn't on. Like any partners in crime, these two critters would find themselves involved in all sorts of shenanigans. Most importantly, they soon became close to inseparable. Truly, they weren't ordinary friends. In fact, the more Jordy took Fume and Jibra out into the woods, the more he realized just how special their friendship was. He'd never seen anything like it, and neither had a lot of the people he told about it, which gave him a bright idea. He thought that others would love to hear about this surprising friendship, so Jordy started to bring his camera on a few hikes. After capturing pictures of the animals' enduring friendship, he shared some of those clips on YouTube. It didn't take long for the post to find an audience. First, it had 1,000 visits, and then Jordy went to sleep. The next day, he woke up and saw that the video had hit 300,000 visits, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. What happened? The internet couldn't get enough of the two adorable pals. That's what happened. Soon, people from across the planet had become smitten with the unlikely cat and our friendship. In no time at all, Fume and Jibra had become internet sensations. They were well on their way to superstardom when something unexpected happened that changed absolutely everything. What do you think happened? In May 2013, veterinarians diagnosed Fume with a feline urologic syndrome (FUS), a disease which attacks a cat's kidneys. At just 3 years old, he was already fighting for his life. Not long after his diagnosis, vets determined that they couldn't save poor Fume from the disease. Sadly, he passed away. Jordy thinks that Fume and Jibra's friendship had been able to show us humans that love and friendship are the most valuable treasures we can have. Do you agree with him? In 2015, children's author G.R.V. Martinez wrote a colorful story about the cat and the owl called A Quest for Friendship. In 2017, 4 years after Fume's passing, the cat and owl were still inspiring people everywhere. In one instance, students drew their takes on Jibra and Fume. When you see their special friendship for yourself, you might be inspired by the adorable duo. Watching Jibra and Fume play will bring a smile to your face and will ensure their powerful message lives on. Talk about an adorable and powerful friendship between this cat and owl. Hopefully, all the fun and love Fume and Jibra shared will continue inspiring people all over the world. What do you think? What is your favorite unusual animal friendship? Let us know in the comments below, as we love hearing what you have to say. Thanks for watching. See you next time.